headlines are flashing red. AI tools are discovering software vulnerabilities at a blistering pace, suggesting a catastrophic U.S. data breach is imminent before June 1st. This threat landscape implies a 40% probability of a major breach. That is the figure being sold by the public narrative, a crisis of speed where the discovery of flaws outpaces our ability to respond. Yet institutional capital is looking at the same data and pricing that exact contract, CyberX 26, at just 18%. This creates a 22-point probability variance. One side of the ledger is trading on panic, the other is trading on the cold reality of market patience. You have a choice in how you process this. You can feed your own anxiety by staring at the 40% narrative, or you can examine the mechanical truth behind the market's conviction. The reason for the market's patience is found in the operational timeline. AI tools now surface system flaws faster than human institutions can absorb them, creating a fundamental break in how we patch software. The federal government tracks these flaws through the KEV catalog. Once a vulnerability enters this list, civilian agencies face a mandatory fixed clock deadline to fix it. This graphic illustrates the KEV before patch collision. It occurs when the government mandates a fixed deadline for an AI-discovered flaw before the vendor writes the patch. This timeline compression expands the window of unpatchable danger. Finding flaws faster simply surfaces vulnerabilities that we lack the deployable code to remediate. Institutional capital prices its bids based on this institutional lag. They know the bureaucracy is running on a standard, slower clock that cannot be accelerated by a news cycle. Market conviction is rooted in the functional paralysis of these protection systems. Capital is betting on the historical failure of the patch clock rather than the anxiety of the headline. This paralysis is reinforced in Washington by a deliberate executive asymmetry in how AI is governed. Through Executive Order 14179, the administration explicitly removed broad AI safety guardrails. The doctrine shifted from constraint toward access velocity, prioritizing deployment speed above all else. But that deregulation stands in stark contrast to the Take It Down Act. This bipartisan law imposes a ruthless 48-hour enforcement clock, but only on a single highly visible harm, AI-generated deepfakes. This asymmetry is structural. Enforceable boundaries exist for narrow, public-facing harms, while a regulatory vacuum remains open for the broad AI cyber attack surface. Enforcement agencies like the FTC can use this specific act as a weapon, but they lack any comparable legal instrument to force similar consequences for massive, enterprise-level data breaches. This optimization for speed, or access velocity, drives both the macro regulatory vacuum and your household experience. You currently absorb price shocks through credit expansion, while health systems adopt AI-assisted documentation to maximize throughput. You are residing on a slow patch surface, where error visibility is suppressed in favor of processing volume. Your personal data trains the next iteration of the very systems applying this pressure, and capital is profiting because no one is policing the gap. The system reaches a threshold May 21st. If an AI discovery enters the catalog, it moves to high risk. Path A is market convergence. A breach reprices the contract toward 0.40. Path B is narrative deflation. The contract expires and the absence of enforcement remains. You cannot fix the vulnerability discovery window, you cannot write the vendor patches, and you cannot alter federal enforcement posture. Stop feeding the anxiety of the 40% narrative. Recognize the cold, unbothered math of the 18% market reality and withdraw your attention from the manufactured panic before you step away from